Welcome, everybody, to the September 10th. Why am I getting feedback? Is that me? Okay, I'm okay? All right,
Recording in progress.
there we go. The September 10th regular meeting of the Centennial School Board. Welcome, everybody, to our first meeting of the school year. We've seen each other recently, but this is the first time we're here together when school is in session. So I first need to have us approve our agenda for this evening. So if I could have a board member move to approve and then a second.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to approve the meeting agenda. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Aye, David. We saw you. All right, that has been approved. Introduction of guests. I'm going to turn that over to Superintendent Owens.
All right, we've got a guest this evening, and we'll usher her over to the hot seat.
My guest.
You are the guest.
April has a speech and I don't, so. just
I like how
preparing everyone.
Allie was looking around to see
I
who
was
the
like,
guest was.
Yes, now I see that.
It is my pleasure to introduce Allie Marks as principal of Centennial Middle School. Allie brings nearly 20 years of experience as a teacher, instructional coach, and administrator, with a strong commitment to equitable outcomes, restorative practices, and student-centered leadership. Most recently, Allie served as assistant principal at Gordon Russell Middle School in the Gresham Barlow School District, where she led work on inclusive multi-tiered systems of support, strengthened behavior supports that balance accountability and healing, and facilitated professional learning to advance culturally responsive practices and belonging. Her leadership is marked by strong relationships with students, families, and staff, grounded in restorative approaches, high expectations, and compassion. Earlier in her career, she served as a secondary instructional coach in the Park Rose School District, supporting AVID implementation, assessment, grading, and instructional improvement. She began her career teaching English and AVID in the Forest Grove School District, where she also led PLCs and contributed to district-wide curriculum and professional development. Allie is also a certified constructing meaning presenter with experience training educators in academic language development, skills-based instruction, and equitable teaching practices. She holds a BA in English from Portland State University, a Master of Arts in Teaching from Lewis and Clark College, and a principal license from Portland State University. Her leadership values closely align with Roadmap 27, ensuring every student belongs, grows, and is known and valued in the school community. So please join me in welcoming Allie Marks to Centennial Middle School.
Thank you.
And Allie, if I've left anything for you to say,
Well,
feel
I
free
just
to-
want to say that I was just completing a survey and I said that I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time. And that has really just been the feeling for me over the last couple of months. I'm just so excited to be here. And it was so wonderful to have students come back and have that to ground all of us in a shared vision over the last week or so. So thank you for the opportunity to serve our community and our kids and our families. I'm just very grateful.
thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, welcome. There are no other guests introduced tonight?
None on the agenda.
All right, thank you. So approval of minutes. Board members, we have two sets of minutes to approve. We'll take one, starting with July 9th. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve minutes for July 9th.
A second?
Second.
Not everybody all at once. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the July 9th meeting minutes. All those in favor indicate by saying aye and hold up your hand.
Aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Oh, all right. Those minutes are approved. And I need a motion to approve the July 10th, or 30th meeting.
I move to approve the July 30th meeting minutes.
Second.
We have it motioned and seconded to approve. All those in favor indicate by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Thank you. That was smoother than I thought it might be. This is good. We have public forum tonight, and we have had our executive assistant, Missy Grindle, has been contacted by people who would be interested. And so I kind of need to know who may be looking to be added for public forum?
Drew Rosa would like to speak.
All right, any others indicating?
No one has raised their hand at this point.
Okay, if you are interested in speaking though this evening, that's the way to maybe signal us that you are interested in speaking. And I do have something that needs to be read for public forum, so let me do that. And then Drew will invite you to speak with the board. During the public forum section of the agenda, individuals are welcome to share constructive feedback on district operations and programs. The purpose of this agenda item is for you to inform us about your views. By board policy, the board will not hear comments regarding any district staff member, and the use of appropriate respectful language is expected. Board members will not respond to public comment and will refer matters of operations and programming to the superintendent. Your statement should be concise and will be limited to 3 minutes. Your time will be monitored by our board executive assistant, that would be Missy. Please address your remarks to me as the board chair, but not any specific board member or nor to the public. Thank you. And when you address the board, could you please state your name, and if there's any spelling that might be helpful for us, we'd appreciate that, and your association with the Centennial School District. So I think it was Drew, right? You're there? Ah, good.
Yes.
You're
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect, thank you.
How are y'all tonight?
Missy will keep track of your 3 minutes, and go ahead, please.
All right, perfect. Well, my name is Drew Rosa. I am the president of the Centennial Education Association. Good evening, Chair, members of the board, superintendent, and community. I am honored to be here addressing you for the first time as president of the Centennial Education Association. I submitted this testimony under public comment because I had requested that CEA regain its standing position to provide school board reports, but I have not heard if that request has been acted upon. It's important that our voice of our educators is regularly heard at this table, which is why I took the time to be here tonight through public comment. I have been told that in the past there may have been some tension between the association and the board. While I cannot speak to those, what I can say is that my intent is to move us forward together. Our students and families benefit most when labor and leadership are working collaboratively and transparently. That is why I also encourage this board to hold more of its conversations in open public forums rather than primarily online. Doing so builds trust, strengthens community engagement, and shows our students that collaboration is a cornerstone of democracy. This isn't just about process, it's about values. Our district's roadmap 27, the profile of a graduate, and the union's shared vision for community schools all work best when our public schools are truly public. Many of our families do not have reliable internet access at home, and with the many languages spoken across Centennial, online-only engagement can become one more barrier between families and leadership. Let's work together to break those barriers. I also need to speak to class size, because once again this year, it's a pressing issue across the district. Our contract recognizes this challenge and creates a class size committee of administrators and educators to review concerns and make recommendations. I've already conveyed this committee with our assistant superintendent, and we are working towards that first meeting. I want to note that dividing the number of licensed staff by the number of students is not a true reflection of class size. Specialists such as ELD, Title I, instructional coaches, SPED teachers, and specials teachers are counted in that formula, even though they do not have general education rosters. Meanwhile, we continue to see classrooms in the 30s and higher across the district. I saw the class sizes on tonight's agenda, and I would be happy to speak further about this if the board would like. Finally, I wanted to update you that we have started the school year without a contract. Even so, our educators are still hard at work in the classrooms every day, and we are also hard at the table to reach an agreement that reflects what our students and staff need. We have already made progress and reached tentative agreements on several articles, and we remain committed to getting this finalized. One important change we are pressing for is moving our bargaining sessions into the evenings. Daytime bargaining pulls teachers out of classrooms, disrupts student learning, and strains administrators who must find coverage. Evening sessions are more equitable for everyone, and most importantly, they're better for the kids. With that in mind, I'd like to invite you to our first bargaining session this year on Monday, September 15th at Centennial Middle School at 4:30 p.m. Your presence would show the community that the board values transparency, collaboration, and above all, students. Thank you for your time. I look forward to continuing this conversation and building a stronger, more inclusive partnership in service of our students, families, and educators.
Thank you, Drew. Are there any other hands raised for public comment tonight? Thank you. Moving on to reports. We have our student representatives here this evening, and I'm going to turn it over to you. Can you make sure that I know how to pronounce your names? So is it Yahir? Oh, good for me. So Yahir Castro and Easton Hopkins. The floor is yours.
Hello, committee member, board member, sorry. My name is Yahir Castro, and I am the ASB president for this year. So we started our school term this Wednesday, and we're all very excited to see what the year holds for us. All right, so we started Wednesday with our senior sunrise. Seniors kicked off the year with a long-standing tradition. It started an amazing turnout and lots of energy from the class of 2026. I personally did not, I couldn't imagine how many seniors showed up. It was quite amazing because, sorry, a lot of us showed up, and it was good to see how the class of 26 was very united. It was also good to set the tone for fun and memorable senior year.
On Friday last week, we had our first assembly, our welcome back assembly, to kick off the year. The assembly went really well. The crowd was a lot more engaged and hyped than previous years, which is a really good sign. We played fun games with the teacher, and we had a grudge game where the winner, one teacher got to have a championship belt if they win, and then the other teacher had to wear a sumo suit for the next day, and that was really fun, and it brought a lot of energy and a lot of just funniness to the school, and it was really enjoyable, and yeah, there was just great school spirit from basically everyone. It went really well.
All right, and then we also had our club fair today. It was during both lunches. Over 32 clubs and activities were showcased. These include clubs like Key Club, National Honor Society, and sports like tennis, wrestling were there. There was a huge bus. The hallways were full. All the students were very excited to join their clubs and really looking forward to this year.
This year, we're starting a student senate, so we're able to hear from opinions from pretty much every group in the school. And basically what it is every advisory is going to elect one person to meet at 30 minutes at the start of advisory to sit with me and you here and talk about what they believe needs to be fixed, or what their opinions are on the school. So we're hoping to reach out to many groups, many different types of cultures in the school, and hear many perspectives about what students are saying, and so we can get information from everywhere. And the first student senate meeting will be this Wednesday, and we'll continue once per month, and yeah, it's just giving students a voice.
All right. Well, this month of September, isn't homecoming, but it is at the beginning of October, October 3rd. We will continue with our tailgate, where classes will be able to sell and organize activities. Our parade, which is different from last year. Last year it started at Powell Butte Elementary, but this year we'll be changing it to CMS and going through the neighborhood, through Hague, and then out through 180s first into the high school. And then we also have our halftime, which showcases many performing from our dance, our cheer, and our band. Plus, it also adds our royalty, which will be crowned. And finally, we also have our dance. Our theme for this year for homecoming is fairy tales. We are trying to include different cultures with their fairy tales, but each class is assigned a fairy tale, and the dance will be themed around fairy tales. So we also have other festivities for our homecoming. We have our coloring contest, which is it is a coloring contest with the theme, which is fairy tales this year. And winners will be one student from each grade from all the Centennial District elementary schools. And then we also have our Spirit Week, which will be the week of homecoming, and our homecoming assembly, which is filled with excitement, school spirit, and we'll also have a exciting football and cheer performance.
And to close, it's really been an incredible start to the year. I've seen a lot of energy throughout the school. Students are engaged and they have a lot of spirit and they're ready for more. And thank you for supporting our school community.
Nicely done for your first report. It's always hard to do the first time through. You did great. Sunrise, what time was sunrise? What time did everyone show up? 6? Oh, okay, I get it now. So, board members, any questions for our student reps this evening? Melissa.
I have two very important questions. One, where's the picture of the teacher in the sumo outfit? Essential. And two, I kind of think that the board should do the coloring contest too. You just email me the sheet and we're gonna pass that around.
I am definitely in for a coloring contest. I actually wanted to say that it's really cool how you guys are creating more belonging by reaching out to each of the individual communities and schools and incorporating them. And that student senate idea is really exciting.
That's
I
a
can't
good
wait to
idea.
hear more about how that unfolds over the year.
Love to hear feedback about your Senate.
Were
That
those
sounds great.
Senate elections for each advisory today? Because today was advisory, right?
Yeah, they were today. So each advisory, their teacher picked out a student, and it doesn't involve, they were trying not to use student council members because we already have a voice in our school, but we're trying to include other people that may not be in the class due to scheduling, so they can better our school.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much. Now, you're going to be able to stay here for the rest of the reports. It's important probably that you know a little bit about what we're doing, and then we'll have a break after reports so that if you need to leave us, you'll be welcome to do so. But our next report is on integrated programs, annual report, with Director April Olson, and I go to you, Superintendent Owens, for an introduction for this.
All right, we've got our Director of Curriculum and Student Learning, April Olson, who's queuing up her presentation as we speak. It's her first opportunity to formally present before the board during one of our board meetings, I believe. And this is an annual required report for integrated programs, which is something that was initiated a couple of years ago. And without stealing much of Director Olson's thunder, I'll let her go ahead and walk us through.
Okay. Good evening, Board of Directors. Thank you for having me here. I am here tonight to share with you the annual report for our integrated programs plan. We are required by statute to review progress on an annual basis. Progress consisting of some answers to some narrative questions that I'll share with you, the overview bullets tonight, reflection on progress markers, and a financial kind of accounting of line item spending of the grants that are included in the integrated plan. We need to present the report to the board and an opportunity for public comment and post the annual report on our website. And in addition, since this is the second year of the biennium and we do set longitudinal performance growth targets, we need to review not close enough, review the annual, the metric rates to our growth targets, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about those when we get further in the presentation. So those growth targets really are kind of the end goal of where we'd like to see progress with the investments that we're making from these grants. But we're also looking at other kind of metrics along the way. The growth targets, however, are based on these metrics you see here: third grade reading proficiency, ninth grade on track, regular attendance rates, 4-year on-time graduation, and 5-year completer rate. As you may know, there will be some more of these added for this coming biennium, but for now, these are the ones we'll be reporting on. Our goals and our outcomes in our integrated plan may look familiar because they are aligned with those in our strategic plan, inclusive of kindergarten through 3rd grade, foundational reading skills, students feeling safe and supported as learners, student voice and choice in their school communities, and being able to engage in rigorous learning with a multitude of academic pathways they can choose from, and then graduating with skills necessary to thrive in the world that is being created as we speak. So there are a couple of questions in the annual reflection. The first one is that we are to look at our progress markers and reflect on our plan implementation and how we see progress contributing to those outcomes that we just read and to those longitudinal performance growth targets. And discuss in depth a little bit about at least one outcome where we've seen progress in implementation. So I'm going to speak to 2 different outcomes actually where we've seen progress in implementation. The first one is related to outcome 1. Our district prioritized early literacy by placing 4-hour early literacy educational assistants in every kindergarten classroom mid-year last year. They were to help support small group UFly instruction, which is foundational structured literacy program, and support independent reading and writing with our kindergartners. Every kindergarten teacher was paired with a coach or a TOSA who provided at least 2 hours of daily classroom instruction or classroom instructional support through modeling, co-teaching, planning, feedback, additional help. And our educators received targeted professional learning. Those educational assistants completed 3 full days of training. Teachers participated in UFly focus sessions and had monthly kindergarten collaboration sessions. Teachers, EAs, and principals were equipped with high-quality instructional materials, including UFly manuals, lesson resources, structured literacy checklists, so that principals knew when they were going into classrooms what elements of instruction they should be seeing. And those, even though some of those didn't start until mid-year last year, we saw significant gains with our DIBELS data growing from 18% of our kindergartners at or above benchmark at the beginning of year to 56% by year's end. And that is a much greater gain than we have seen in previous years with our kindergarten students. Additionally, I want to speak a little bit to outcome number 2 and looked a little bit more at the other end of the spectrum at kind of our high school student opportunities. We have advanced goal number 2 through stronger college level pathways. sustaining college-level Spanish credit classes with Portland State University, and expanding AP enrollment and test participation. Both Centennial High School and Centennial Virtual Academy increased college and career readiness by expanding CTE classes, articulating college credit options, and strategic partnerships with our higher education partners. Students gained wider access to college and career advisors, both through in-person and synchronous formats, and so broadening the range of opportunities that students have to engage with college and career. Centennial Middle School expanded their electives, and we're working on that CTE pathway alignment with the high school. They added some new courses like culinary and hospitality. And we have a youth science curriculum that is continuing at 8th grade to support career exploration and kind of that 8th to 9th grade transition with forecasting, reinforcing early college and career readiness planning. The next question is around where we might have experienced barriers or challenges to progress with our outcomes and our strategy, and asked us to speak to at least one outcome where we have seen those challenges or barriers. Interestingly enough, the same outcomes where we experienced growth, like related to early literacy, related to college and career outcomes, are where we are also seeing maybe some challenges. And I think that's just implementation, you know, the pathway of implementation, that we get past one step and then the next may be a harder iteration to make. Where we did see strong progress in kindergarten and first grade, sustaining those gains in reading outcomes through the subsequent grade levels has been difficult. Part of that is uneven instructional capacity. Part of that is still coming out of the pandemic. We have too many students to like intervene our way out of some of the reading challenges that students are presenting with. So to address that, we're deepening our PLC structures this year and really focusing on collaborative instructional planning so that our teachers are collaborating, high leverage, culturally responsive, tier 1 first time instruction. Likewise, with our middle school electives and CTE, elective access is not necessarily equitable across our middle schools at this point. And alignment to high school pathways is inconsistent. We're getting there. We're not there yet. So we're still continuing to evaluate and align those elective offerings to increase collaboration between our middle school and high school programs to strengthen those transitions. And then the 9th grade teaming at Centennial High School, the trimester schedule and some other challenges just kind of disrupted the ability to have clean teams. However, we are kind of doing more with less, partnering with MESD for some Center for High School Success coaching, establishing formal collaboration schedule for 9th grade teachers to come together, to come up with consistent expectations, maybe not instructional, but what are we expecting in like executive functioning for students? What commonalities can students have across their freshman classroom experience to set them up to be successful learners? This is where it gets a little interesting. We are to review the longitudinal performance growth target metrics. The interesting piece, and I want to have the right numbers here, is that the 24-25 validation, data validation for the metrics that we follow, doesn't close until September 26th. So, and the public release isn't until right before Thanksgiving break. So we are required to report to you on the 23-24 metric results. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like. It is beautiful. I'm not going to talk to this the whole time, but I do want to maybe look at the lines. I know you have this on your computers in front of you. If not, maybe your glasses work. But look at the 3rd grade proficiency. Starts there about, that's the 4th blue line. And you see that there are baseline targets, and that's for the all student group. That's the target that we're looking for if we just want to maintain baseline. And then there's a stretch target. which would be starting to, going above, like more than a year's growth, right? Which is what we'd like to see. And then we have gap closing targets for our focal students. Yeah. So I've got some bullets for you. But the baseline and the stretch targets, I can report, were met for our regular attenders. And our gap closing target, we missed by just 0.4%. So feeling very good about our attendance initiatives. We're going to continue to focus on removing those barriers to attendance through belonging and engagement strategies. Our 9th grade on track results finished above baseline for that all-student group and focal groups and was just 1% shy of the stretch target. And our graduation rates were close to, but we're not meeting. So some of the things that we're doing around to address that is expanded summer programming. We've got the 9th grade counts programming, which is early start, project-based classes for our incoming 9th graders. We're offering virtual credit recovery and original credit options for students who may not be on track to graduate at this point. And we are still crunching the numbers from this past summer, but are seeing positive results from that. And those increased efforts in 9th grade teaming, increased work with the attendance protocols and career-related learning. We are hoping to really see the long-term outcomes for that in this, when this next round of data comes out. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Board members, Director Slinsky, you're pulling the mic. You have
I
questions?
am. Thank you. That was a lot of information, and it definitely, one of the questions that came to me as I was listening to this is we saw talking about the reading gains in kindergarten last year, and that we have a hard time sustaining those gains beyond K1. I'm curious, are we replicating what we did last year this year? And are we giving ourselves more time? Are we continuing to do what works to ensure that the next classes that come beyond have that level?
We are, and we have the luxury of being able to start now, rather than wait till January. So the focus on kindergarten and first grade is continuing. Our early literacy EAs are going to be able to provide support at KN1 this year based on some scheduling that the principals have looked at. And we are continuing to enhance the instructional practices that teachers are using, not only with UFI structured literacy, but also with our core adopt program, and roll that up into second grade as well.
I love that, I appreciate all the structured stuff, but part of me is like, are we still teaching our kids to love reading? Because that's what's going to sustain them, is if they love reading.
It's a
and
balance.
making sure that it's a balance of the structured and ensuring that there's some engagement.
Absolutely. Yep.
Other questions?
Thank you so much for the presentation. A lot of good info. My questions and comments were right along with previous. I apparently can't talk today.
That person.
That person, the person sitting next to me. Director Slawski, thank you. And in regards to what we are doing to replicate the success from last year in KN1 this year, are we also looking at what we're doing in second and third grade to make sure we're making those leaps and bounds, and so that when they're hitting third grade and then beyond, they're ready, right?
We are, and we have some strategies that we are able to use our comprehensive literacy grant that we just received in order to support continuing to put those good practices and scale those up into the later grades. The strategies look a little bit differently, but yes, that is the intention.
Perfect, thank you.
Director Lynn, I can see your hand, so I'll come to you next, and then Director Stanley? Or is that not your hand? I've just looked, I've got something on the screen. Okay.
Oh.
Director Stanley.
Okay. I understand that K1 reading, and direct instruction and joy of reading. But the joy comes without having to struggle all the time too. So great policies in place. I have a question about if effective practices are going to be able to be sort of collected and showcased, maybe via PLCs, or if there's going to be a shared Google Doc or a shared drive that teachers could use to collaborate across the schools, because it is so hard if something's working at Powell Butte and nobody knows about it at Pleasant Valley, but this has been like a gold mine. Could we like network that somehow?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got some ideas for that.
Thank you.
Director Newman.
Thanks. Thank you, as everyone else said. I appreciate your presentation and the details that were sent out too. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I'm curious about the middle school electives and CTE, describing the equity disparities between, I guess, Centennial Middle School and Oliver Middle School. Is that in part regards just to the size of the schools and the student population, and what are some of the things that you're looking at for solving the equity?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is part of due to the size and the FTE, that we are going to get a group together this year and look at that. Also ensure that the electives that we're growing are kind of related to a CTE pathway that can go through the high school, and so ensure that we are having intentionality when we're expanding and building elective programs.
Thank you very much.
Other questions? Director Harden.
My question was about the ninth grade teaming. If the trimester schedule is being disruptive, is there a look at not being on a trimester system?
Yes.
She's looking to me to see what she can say publicly.
Careful.
Yes, we're looking at trimester system, as any system has its pros and cons, and I know that that's become a frustration point at CHS, and so I know with Director Olson coming in and Principal Miller being well aware, they are actively working now to determine what the best pathway is forward and looking at the structure of the schedule, whether it be semesters or trimesters or quarter, whatever it needs to look like, is actively on the table to review.
To be continued.
Thank you.
Any other questions, directors? Hearing none, we'll move on to our superintendent report. Superintendent Owens.
Thank you.
All right, greetings, board members. I usually like to tell you what you're in for, and you're in for a long report. Vice Chair Mooring's like, yes. All right, greetings, board members. It's my pleasure and privilege to share with you this update about happenings in our school district. National Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated annually from September 15th to October 15th, honoring the histories, cultures, and contributions of individuals whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, and the Caribbean, Central and South America. Established in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week, it was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988. Across the district, Centennial schools will be celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month in a variety of ways, so stay tuned. As you know, school is now underway, and there's nothing like the excitement of the first day of school, so it was nice to be able to share that enthusiasm with staff, parents, and students as Chief Andreg and I toured the district schools on the first day. We had the opportunity to visit each school, as well as Centennial Virtual Academy at CHS, as well as CTC, which is now open for students. Here are more pictures, courtesy of Chief Communications Officer Christine Andreg and her communications sidekick, Nina Ortiz. I realize that we are a bit a ways from it now, but it's worth noting that we had our convocation on Wednesday, August 27th. The event brought together every district employee, offering a rare chance to reconnect, celebrate accomplishments, and look ahead together. The program highlighted progress on Roadmap 27, our 4-year strategic plan, now entering year 3. We also shared stories of success from schools across the district and lifted up the collective work happening every day to support Centennial students. On the bottom right, you can see the fat heads that Meadows made for.
Yeah, I was like, we're just gonna skip right over the big heads.
I missed the cheers this year.
Yeah, the cheers are always a highlight of the time, and looks like I made one of the fat heads this year. The district office placed, placed, I wouldn't say won.
I don't know, Meadows leaned over and said, did this lose to the district?
All right, let's see. Speaking of our strategic plan, for a brief high-level orientation as we begin our academic year, in summary, we are staying the course. With our focus areas of literacy, belonging, attendance, and engagement, we're just gaining traction, as you heard in the previous report. In the coming year, we will continue to build coherence across our classrooms and departments, deepening implementation of the instructional core, and bringing the profile of a graduate to life in intentional and meaningful ways. In the area of literacy, we will intensify our focus on work already underway with critical standards and our literacy framework. This includes ensuring every student has access to grade-level instruction, lessons that connect to their lives, and multiple entry points. It also means educators collaborating in PLCs to design instruction and assess mastery. Literacy remains the cornerstone of our academic work. Students must feel seen, valued, and safe. This comes through daily classroom practices, school-wide routines, and strong relationships. Belonging is not an add-on, it's the environment in which learning takes place. Strategies to support this continue to include responsive classroom in elementary and middle schools and advisory structures at the high school level. We will also deepen our understanding of Oregon's transformational social and emotional framework and continue integrating the associated standards into practice. Literacy and belonging will remain our primary focus areas this year. Next comes attendance and engagement. Students can't benefit from great instruction if they're not present, or if they're disconnected once they arrive. That's why we'll continue refining first-time learning experiences, removing barriers, and designing school days that students want to be a part of. This year, we continue to deepen our implementation of the profile of a Centennial graduate. This means creating more opportunities for students to engage in meaningful, real-world learning, reflect on their growth, and share their progress in ways that feel authentic. We're supporting staff to integrate key competencies like critical thinking, collaboration, and communication into everyday instruction. All schools will participate with formats and focus areas adapted to reflect each school's context and readiness. More information will be shared this fall as implementation moves forward. This year, we're also drawing clearer lines between our priorities and the systems that power them. Multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS, is the instructional frame. While it includes targeted interventions, it's really about getting the foundation right. This includes high-quality core instruction, proactive attendance strategies, and consistent behavioral expectations. PLCs are the engine under the hood. This is where the work comes alive, where teams study the road ahead, interpret the data dashboard, and plan the next turn. Together, PLCs and MTSS form the infrastructure that helps our priorities travel farther and reach more students. Belonging takes shape not only through relationships, but through the physical spaces that students enter each day. When classrooms are cool in the heat, walls are freshly painted, and buildings feel safe and welcoming, students receive a powerful message. You matter, and this space was made for your learning. As such, with students away for the summer, we had a window of opportunity to move forward with several major projects, including the recently purchased Centennial Transition Center building, which was renovated and will open to, is now open to students as the first district-owned facility in the program's history. Seismic upgrades at Oliver Middle School focused on the middle classroom wing, media center, main entry, cafeteria, and office. Work to improve safety included structural supports, roof connections, large concrete footings, and reconstructed portions of exterior walls. Renovations at Park Lane Elementary featuring 5 learning spaces, 3 general education classrooms, the music room, which all students benefit from, and the English language development rooms. A brand new playground at Powell Butte Elementary, and you can see some of the students being able to enjoy it. Seal coating and freshly painted striping of parking lots across several locations, including Centennial High School, Centennial Middle School, Meadows, and when you drove in this evening, the district office. And last but not least, fresh paint throughout the district in libraries, gyms, cafeterias, and other common spaces. As we begin a new school year, it's important to take a moment to recognize the work that occurred during the summer across every part of our district. Much of what supports student learning on day one and every day after is made possible by months of planning, preparation, and behind-the-scenes effort by dedicated staff in every department. From classrooms to cafeterias, parking lots to professional learning spaces, our team came together to ensure that students would return to schools that are safe, welcoming, and ready for learning. I'd like to share some highlights of how departments across the district contributed to this collective effort. The work in dining services did not stop this summer. Over 3,000 breakfasts and 13,600 lunches were served to students. A new partnership with Portland Parks and Recreation launched this June at Park Lane Park, where over 300 lunches were served to children across Portland. And Michelle Williams led a team that prepared and delivered meals daily to parks, apartments, and our new partner site, Learn, Play, Grow.
I think it's Play Grow.
Say what?
I'm pretty sure it's Play Grow Learn.
Play, grow, learn. Grow, play, learn. Okay.
It's all good.
It's 3 words in some sort of order. Okay. Thank you to our custodians and facility staff who prepared school environments that are clean, safe, and conducive to learning. In addition to the facilities highlights I already mentioned, at CHS, the gym floor was refinished and all main hallways received upgrades, and water bottle filling stations were completed or are underway at Pleasant Valley, Meadows, Patrick Lynch, Park Lane, and Oliver Middle School. Transportation focused this summer on strengthening service, team culture, and readiness for fall. A Centennial team earned recognition and brought home trophies from the 47th Annual Oregon School Bus Safety Competition. Staff routed and drove buses for summer programs. The department completed extensive training, deep cleaning, and route adjustments. They also welcomed a new director, mechanic, transportation supervisor, and multiple new drivers.
And got tiaras.
The most important part. The ITC team supported major upgrades and hands-on preparations, including assembling new Chromebook parts for both Oliver and Centennial Middle Schools, upgraded the district's network and data center, installed Microsoft Office 2024 on all district PCs. Yes, we use PCs. And upgraded projectors and document cameras at CHS. Paul's glaring at me. In its second summer of implementation, the Campus Safety Liaison Team engaged in rapport building and scenario-based safety training, gang awareness and trauma response training, including life-threatening bleeding and tourniquet application, professional learning on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and developed individual and team goals for the school year. This summer marked the 5th consecutive year of robust student learning opportunities. PK through 8 programs emphasize literacy, social emotional development, and enrichment through our Sun partners. 9th grade counts gave rising 9th graders the opportunity to earn credit through project-based learning with Friday field trips to places like Bonneville Dam, the Tillamook Dairy, and the Columbia Gorge. Credit recovery was offered for high school students, resulting in over 210 completed courses, which is an increase of 72 compared to last summer. And Centennial Virtual Academy students completed unfinished online coursework. Our building and department secretaries gathered to build community and welcome new team members, strengthen collaboration across school sites, and prepare systems for efficient school and departmental operations this fall. Our school and district leaders spent the summer strengthening networks of collaboration and instructional leadership, advancing strategic and school improvement planning, and preparing systems and professional learning structures for the start of the school year. On August 19th and 20th, our annual new licensed staff orientation included district welcome and team building, introduction to the Courageous Conversations Compass and Equity Lens, learning strategies to create inclusive, high expectation learning environments, applying equity-centered mindsets to lesson planning and instruction. This group photo includes both our new, this group photo includes both our new licensed staff and the administrators we welcomed on day one. Starting the school year with purpose gives us a chance to recalibrate. It allows us to focus on what matters most for students and for our work together. There is plenty to manage in these early weeks, but that should not overshadow why we're here. What happens in classrooms is shaped by more than any one role or department. The learning, care, and structure that students experience is made possible by the collective efforts of people across the district. Each of us plays a role, and how we begin matters. So thank you for the opportunity to highlight these intentional efforts. September 2025 has been proclaimed Attendance Awareness Month in Oregon by Governor Tina Kotek. Regular attendance plays a key role in student success and well-being, especially in early grades and leading up to high school graduation. Students K through 3 who attend regularly are more likely to read at grade level. In high school, attendance is a strong predictor of graduation, more so than 8th grade test scores. And attendance supports student well-being, connectedness, and belonging. Am I getting a new mic? Thank you. Appreciate you. As previously mentioned, improving attendance is a key focus area of Roadmap 27. We are pursuing a multi-pronged approach, including rigorous, engaging instruction, intentional focus on belonging in SEL, fun and relevant activities, and student voice in shaping learning experiences. We're proud to be a part of the Oregon Department of Education's Everyday Matters initiative, which emphasizes the link between attendance, health, and academic achievement. As part of our Everyday Matters effort, Centennial partners with the Shadow Project, a nonprofit funded by the Oregon Lottery that provides reading mentors, staff training, and student engagement strategies. Through this partnership, teachers and staff receive on-site training, students benefit from reading mentors, and efforts support literacy and belonging, both linked to improved attendance. This work has had a direct impact on both literacy and attendance, particularly at Pleasant Valley Elementary, which was recently featured by the Oregon Department of Education and Oregon Lottery. And for that reason, I'd like to take a moment to share with you a video that was produced to feature these efforts in this partnership.
We all have this vision, or we're raised with this vision of what normal or what typical or what expected is. The Shadow Project is on a mission to make school more accessible and engaging for kids with learning challenges like autism, ADHD, and dyslexia, and remake the environment so it fits the student. Because right now what our system does is it tries to remake the student to fit the environment. They come to school and they just feel like they don't belong. They feel like school isn't a place for them. They don't feel like they can learn. And when you don't feel like you can do something, you give up.
When kids don't come to school, even 10 days of kindergarten, their learning is impacted. Then when they come back to school, they're anxious because everybody's moved on and they feel confused.
Our Everyday Matters program is to address chronic absenteeism. We work with our education service districts to provide funding to help them be able to increase their own capacity to address the root causes of absenteeism. Additionally, we award a number of community-based organization grants, recognizing that the work of attendance in schools is not just on the school or just on the families, but it really is a community approach.
One of the ways that we implement Everyday Matters is we have funding for the Shadow Project, and the Shadow Project helps to support our sensory space. It helps to train our teachers and our educational assistants, and it helps with reading supports for kids.
Adults may see students that deal with these learning challenges and think that they're potentially lazy or unmotivated, that they don't care. These kids want to do more, but their brain is wired differently. And in the classroom, if they're having a hard time, they may be rowdy or they may be super quiet because they don't want to stand out. And so really we just need to find the right tools to help them out.
The biggest wins we've had really have to do with the regulation space. We have seen a lot of students who have used this space transform.
They do a check-in. They get prompted to ask themselves, how am I feeling? They set a timer. It's usually, 10, 15 minutes. And they start with what we call large motor movements, like pushing, pulling, jumping. We have this thing called a proprioceptive nervous system. Muscle crunching gives your body a kind of feedback that is highly regulating to our brains. And then finally, they end with more of what we call small motor movements, which are things like playing with this thing called kinetic sand, which is like going to the beach and playing with sand. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. And that's a good checkpoint for the adult who's with them to kind of see like, oh, okay, are they regulated? Are they ready to go back into the classroom? And that's where you get that self-awareness building and self-reflection. How did I feel? And then I did these things, and then it made me feel a different way. And how can I replicate that when I'm back in the classroom and maybe even at home?
We learn about regulating our emotions, making sure when we get angry or sad, we can come back to normal so we can learn. Like breathing tools, like volcano breaths, where you go and you go out when the volcano explodes, or I just go and find something soft and I just squeeze it really hard, like this. I just squeeze it really hard.
It's really no different than math time or literacy time. Those are blocks of time set aside for every kid in every school day where they focus on math, where they focus on reading, and they focus on writing. The sensory space, you are focusing on sensory skills.
From the first bell to the last bell, first day of school to the last day of school. The dollars generated by the Oregon Lottery bolster impactful initiatives that create a culture of learning and growing for our students.
Our schools are changing, our students are changing. It's important that we change with them. We understand that all kids are good and they are just either missing the skill or they need those accommodations. Giving that power back to students is something that we really believe in here.
Sorry, there was just a black bar on the top. As part of Attendance Awareness Month, the Oregon Department of Education has expressed strong interest in Centennial's efforts to improve attendance. ODE is planning a back-to-school visit to Pleasant Valley Elementary, led by Director Dr. Charlene Williams. The visit is scheduled for Wednesday, September 17th from 9 to 10:30. The visit will tie in with the Pleasant Valley video feature you just saw and potential media collaboration focused on everyday matters and student belonging. This recognition highlights Centennial's leadership and attendance work and the impact of our partnerships and school-based strategies. As you know, the board received regular enrollment and class size reports and confirmation items. Obviously, it is necessary for staffing to be assigned well in advance of the arrival of students in the fall. For that reason, each spring the district goes through a process of projecting enrollment and class sizes and assigning FTE, or teachers, for the following school year based upon these projections. Of course, these projections are best guess predictions, and unfortunately, students do not travel between grades and meet groups of 25, so there can be differences between the numbers projected and the reality that happens in the fall. Director of Business and Operations Paul Southerton and Assistant Superintendent Dr. Katsuda and I have met a few times before and after the start of school for a preliminary review of class size data to examine the need for any staffing adjustments. To date, we have allocated an additional kindergarten teacher at Pleasant Valley Elementary. In keeping with our normal process, in mid-September, following the 10th day of school, we will do a detailed examination of class sizes across the district to determine if any adjustments need to be made. I mentioned the 10th day of school because each year some students are registered with us but don't actually end up attending. This could be because they moved but they didn't notify the school and their records have not been requested by the new school in which they've enrolled. This process is the process for this is a readjustment of enrollment figures after the 10th day of school, known as the 10-day drop, which is a statewide process not specific to just Centennial. All of that is to say is that September numbers are usually the high point of the year, and as things settle over the next couple of weeks, we'll have a better idea of average class size and enrollment levels, and we do look at those by class, not aggregate them across specialist levels and otherwise. We'll be taking a closer look at actual enrollment here shortly and making decisions as to any adjustments that may need to be made. At this point, there are a handful of areas that we are keeping our eye on. Before I conclude, I want to briefly preview a topic that we plan to discuss in more depth at our upcoming board work session in 2 weeks, the governor's order related to cell phone restrictions in schools. To start the year, Centennial schools, particularly at the secondary level where cell phone use is more common, implemented procedures that reflect the intent of the executive order ahead of the formal policy adoption. Consistent messaging was shared during advisory periods at both the middle and high school levels, and enforcement protocols are now in place and being used. Early feedback that I've received has been positive, and we're continuing to monitor implementation across schools. And just to be clear, the feedback I've received is usually from adults, so I haven't talked with the kids yet, but I'm sure that some of the adults here have, or some of the kids here may have opinions. If there are any questions at the end of my report, I'll ask Director Olson and Principal Miller, who have been leading the policy development work, to join me to help respond. Let's go here. We are currently, they were backwards on my notes versus my slide. We're currently accepting applications to fill a vacancy on the Budget Committee. The application will be available on the district website starting on Monday, September 15th, with the application window open through Wednesday, October 16th. In addition to public outreach, we plan to follow up with individuals who ran for the open school board seats earlier this year to ensure they're aware of the opportunity. The board is scheduled to conduct interviews with candidates at the October 22nd board meeting. Finally, as was mentioned in our student rep report, homecoming will be here before we know it. This year it will be held on Friday, October 3rd, starting with the annual homecoming parade, apparently starting at Centennial Middle School, which sounds like a new and good way to do it, prior to the varsity football game against Park Rose. You should have already received a calendar invitation from Executive Assistant Missy Grindle. And with that, I invite any questions or comments you might have, and that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Superintendent Owens. Let's open it up for any questions, board members.
Just a quick question about the Budget Committee position. Will you remind me, will you say again the dates the application will open and close?
Absolutely, yes. Application is open now, but it's really going to be open once the applications are made available, which is going to be on Monday, September 15th, and that'll be open through Wednesday, October 16th, so a month, basically. And I can follow up on the Friday email just to make sure.
Thanks, that sounds great.
A follow-up on that. We're required to have someone from our, what committee? Equity Committee on the budget committee? How are we're dealing with that, or it's being thought through?
Yeah, that's a consideration, and I was thinking about that as well as we were developing this, is that that is an expectation, and there's a new policy that is being proposed by not proposed, that they've released by OSBA. The legislature changed some of the requirements about the district equity committee. One of those being is that they're an advisory body now to the superintendent and not the school board. And so I need to go back and look at the draft policy that OSBA released last week to see how that changes the configuration as it relates to the budget committee. Because if it is the case that we need that crossover as a budget committee vacancy emerges, then we will need to take that into consideration in terms of our promotion and choice making.
Thank you. Any questions?
Well, my understanding is that I'm also on the budget, or the equity committee and the budget committee, so could I provide that role if need be? Or does it have to be somebody not on the board?
We'll research that.
Okay.
Other questions?
Yes.
Oh, there, yeah.
I'm sure you told me this at some point. There look like to be quite a few hotspot class size things here. About how many are we holding in our brains that we might be able to offer some support? Because, wow, there's some big numbers in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have 2 in the budget for hotspots. We've deployed 1, and then we'll need to take a look at and see what the class sizes look like to see if there's any other configurations that we need to make beyond that.
Any other questions?
I was just curious, you're here in Easton, we didn't give you this info ahead of time, but if you have thoughts, or your fellow students have thoughts on cell phones and whatnot, we'd love to hear it directly from the people who are impacted the most. And again, if you're not prepared to do that, no pressure, because we didn't tell you that was going to happen, but maybe you can bring it to us next time if there's something to share. Yeah.
And that it's a governor's order.
Do you have any initial impressions based on just your own personal experience, or?
I would just say I see it going good. I see that a lot of students are following the rule. Obviously, there's some outliers, but that's going to happen. But I feel that students are more engaged because of it, and I have seen a lot more phones than last year, like a lot more. I mean, a lot less, I mean a lot less phones.
I was going to say.
Thank you.
I was thinking of it backwards, but I mean, because a lot more last year, but there's a lot less phones than last year. So it's been going good so far.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Let's take a short break, and board directors, if we could make it like just really short, that would be great, because I have the rest of the agenda is fairly short. We might be able to get out of here a little earlier tonight. Thank you to our student representatives for hanging in there with us this evening, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in our next board meeting. So, break.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Thank you, everyone. We are back from our short break, and we are back to the agenda for confirmation items confirmed in mass. Do I have a motion to approve these confirmation items?
Motion to approve the confirmation items.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the confirmation items as listed in the agenda.
As we were planning the agenda, I remember that you wanted a little bit of a description on one of the items. Were you still hoping for that?
I'm good.
Okay. Because Director Wright's ready.
I was ready. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, anyone? It looked like I got all the ayes there. Thank you so much for your approval. We're moving on to board action items number 7 on your agenda. Nothing under old business at this time, and so we'll be moving directly into new business. If you're reading your agenda, it says OSBA Board of Directors and Legislative Policy Committee nominations are going to be due, I believe, at the end of September is what they've been saying. What we need to know is if anybody is going to be interested. And David, I know you're with us, and I know that you are also currently on the Legislative Policy Committee. So again, I know I screwed up the hand raising this last time, but if I can get that straight with you, if you're still interested, if you could let us know. Our next board meeting would be within the timing that the OSBA is asking for. So if you want to take some time to consider that, David, if you want to take some time to say, yeah, you know, to nominate you as well, please let us know. Anything else, Ms. Grindle, that I need to say or state about this item? Any questions from board members? Okay, I assume we're all good. All right, I'm looking around. It looks like we're all good. Thank you so much for your attention to that. And thank you for knowing what it's about, because that means you've been reading your messages and your emails, and we appreciate that as well. So we're moving on to future agenda items, and as usual, we will put that to the test for Superintendent Owens. What kinds of things do you have on our list?
All right, for the work session coming up in a couple of weeks, we've got a few things planned. The first is we are looking at an executive session to start related to bargaining and providing the board an update with regard to that process. As far as topics on the agenda, we intend to have a long-range facility planning orientation with the board. We have DLR Group who has indicated that they are available to come that evening to have some conversation with the board about that process and outline it for this year and into the future. We also have the topic of cell phones in schools. We have the policy that's required to be adopted by the board at the end of October. As I believe I mentioned during our board retreat, in order to have that policy in order in time, we need to have it approved at the second meeting in October, which means a first read at the first meeting in October. And I understand that the board would like to have some discussion on it before they see the first read of the policy, so that brings us to the work session in 2 weeks. We also have the superintendent evaluation and potentially looking at evaluation components and what we want that evaluation structure to look like for this year. And then finally, I have at least one policy to bring forward, and perhaps some other directors do as well. Back to you, Chair Shields.
Board members, any other suggestions? If you haven't heard, yes.
I have a question. The next meeting, will that be virtual, in person? You know, with DLR coming, do we need to be here? Will it be virtual? How is it working?
We were planning for virtual.
Okay.
Oh. All right, thank you. You know, we had talked about our calendar being still our regular meeting here in the district office. If we have a work sessions are not required, but we have them on our calendar. Those will be held virtually unless there'd be some reason for us to come in person, but all of our meetings are always held in one or the two environments. But people can rely on the fact that we will be here at the first meeting of each month in the district building. Anything else that comes up? No, I don't want to adjourn before asking for any personal comments, go to the order. Vice Chair Meringue, you went to the OSBA webinar on policies. I know that you've been doing some feedback on that, and maybe that's something you would share with the rest of us as well. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think there was I was in attendance as well. I thought we had some really valuable information that we should be sharing with the rest of the board. Anything, nothing coming from budget that I'm looking at Director Harden, nothing different?
Apparently there's a vacancy.
All right. So, there you go.
Tell your friends.
It's bad.
I didn't want to call him out.
All right. Any other, Director Stanley?
Two things. Just a reminder, those aprons from the culinary staff make great things to wear for the parade when you want to chuck candy at people. I also have a ton of pom-poms, just FYI, so call me. And I went to Pal Butte's popsicle party and like unveiling of the new playground. And the families were super duper excited and very appreciative of the way that money has been handled and grants have been given. But questions about bargaining in the contract, I was asked questions by people. So if you do go out and about, just know that families are asking questions about it, which I think is fantastic and appropriate. I was a little taken aback, and we had a really nice conversation, and then we had some nice popsicles. So just know that our families are paying attention. So.
Director Lynn, you usually have some fun things to tell us.
No, I've got nothing for you.
All right. Thank you. The calendar that whoever I'm pointing at, that you put together for us to join for events around the district, that's going to be fantastic. All right, Chief Communication Officer. Christine, thank you so much for that. I've been looking through it. It just, even if we're not being able to attend, it gives us a sense and a feel for all of the things that are happening across our district. And that, it's amazing to see it in writing in that way. All righty. I think we are done. We are adjourned. It is 7:57. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, gosh, that makes me feel.
Recording stopped.